Hello again, you all. I'm back to share some more music, specifically vinyl records, because that's what I really enjoy buying and collecting most. So I always think I'm going to do these videos every couple weeks to, keep the time down on each of them, but a couple months go by and I have 30 to 40 records to show. So I'm not going to go in too much depth on these, just going to go through them as quickly as I can. Maybe say a little bit, but hopefully something piques your interest here. First one here, I got this basically a couple of months ago now, but this is from Deep Chord. It's called Summer Night Versions EP. It's a couple remixes from Deep Chord's album called Summer. So that's some deep electronic dubby techno music. One of my favorites. Second one here, this is actually a modern classical piece. This is a symphony from a Polish composer named Henryk Mikołaj Górecki, if I can pronounce that somewhat correctly. It's his Symphony No. 3. This record is actually a soundtrack to the movie Police, but the music itself is extremely beautiful. It's one of the most accessible symphonies I've heard, and just probably the most moving symphony I've heard. It's got a really kind of almost depressing mood to it, but it's fantastic. This unfortunately isn't a very good pressing of it. I would like to find a better version of the music, but that'll do. I found it for a good price, so I'm happy to have it. This album from Liars was reissued, Drum's Not Dead, one of my favorite indie rock albums of the last decade, so I had to pick that one up. And a reissue here of Dead Can Dance. This is Within the Realm of the Dying Sun from 1987, I want to say. Easily one of their best works, one of the most unique and beautiful, modern, ethereal albums I've heard. So it's excellent. It's kind of dark too. It's really a fantastic album. And Deerhoof's new one, easily one of my favorites of the year. I did get this special version of this I showed in my last video, but for something that I actually want to listen to, I had to get the regular record, and this one's on white vinyl, so definitely a great album there from Deerhoof. And while I got that, I also picked up one of their older albums. This is a reissue of their album Reville from the early 2000s, maybe 2003, 2004, but another one of their great albums. This one really surprised me. I've known about this band for years now, was never all that into them, but I was interested in them because they're from San Francisco, almost a local band, and this is their first album actually in over a year, which is unusual for them. But it's really a kind of a 60s psychedelic album, released this year in 2012. And it's a great album. I really enjoyed this one more than any of their previous work, so I would say this is one of my favorites of the year now. So VOCs, the album is called, well, I guess it's an EP. It says Putrefiers 2 EP, but just a great album there. It has a little die cut cover here. Yeah, I'll show you the sleeve in there. So there's the inner sleeve there. Pretty interesting. But great album, definitely. It's good to hear a band put out music like this at this time. It's really kind of unique for 2012. It sounds like it came from the 60s, so. This one probably can't see it too well, but it's an album from Deadbeat, who's another dub techno artist, one of the best, along with Pole. And this is called, what is this called? Honestly, I don't remember the name of this, and it's hard to read on here, so anyway, that's Deadbeat's new album, and it's another great one from him. It's on the BLKRTZ label. I don't know if you can see that there, but he started his own label and released this album on that label, but was presently surprised by this album. A reissue here of Aphex Twin. The album is called I Care Because You Do. One of my favorites from him. Lots of people know Aphex Twin. I don't think he's really the best of the genre, but he made some great stuff, so I'm glad to get some of that. And this is, yeah, one of my favorites from him. So Aphex Twin, again, good to have that. A couple EPs here from Echospace. These are actually from 2007. The Coldest Season #4 and The Coldest Season #2. This album was easily one of the best albums of the year, one of the best albums of the decade. It's really one of their most ambient albums, and it's a fantastic release. The Modernist, some 90s techno from Germany. This guy is also known as Jörg Berger. He was in the duo Berger and Ink with Mike Ink. That's just a great 90s techno album. And pretty cheap too, you can find that one for a low price. So I just mentioned Mike Ink. This is Love Inc., who is actually the same guy, Wolfgang Vogt, or Wolfgang, if you want to pronounce it as they would in Germany. But the album there is Life's a Gas, another great 90s techno album. This one here is Soltech, an EP, I believe it's called Clouds Overhead, and it has another song called Lost in Love. Just some good, deep dub techno. This guy is actually one half of Echospace. So I'm trying to collect everything I can Echospace related, so this one's really nice. It's on blue vinyl and it's another great release. This one is 100 Waters with a self-titled album from 2012. A great kind of electro folk album. It's really unique. And it came out on Celestial Sound Records. I actually pre-ordered this back in March or so, and it took 6 months to get here. 6 months. But it was definitely worth it. It's a great album, so again, that's 100 Waters. I think it's self-titled. The next one here is an album from 2007, I believe. It's Quiet Village. Silent Movie is the album name. I know someone named Matt Edwards is part of this duo. It's electronic, kind of a sample-based music. It's a collage of different library music almost, I think. And it's really interesting. It's got a great atmosphere to it. Something maybe more for the background, but it's still a really nice release. I think I liked it a little more the first time I heard it. When I bought this and heard it, I didn't like it as much as I did at first, but it's still really nice. Now this one is Autechre, Chiastic Slide from the late 90s. One of their best, I think. Autechre. I don't think I have to say too much about them. They're easily my favorite intelligence dance music artists. And I have another one here. This is Cornfields from Autechre. This one's probably one of their most, if not their most abstract, difficult releases to get into. But their music is just extremely beautiful if you give it the time and effort. It has a lot to it has a lot in it to reveal to you with multiple listens. Now this one is a single from Model 500, who is also known as Juan Adkins, one of the innovators of techno in the late 80s and 90s. This one is called Starlight, and it has a Mike Huckabee synth remix on the other side, an Intrusion remix on the A side. So another Echospace related release there. This one is Echo Chord Color #1. Arnie Weinberg is the artist, and the song is Blossom. I'll show you the vinyl on this one. A nice blue vinyl there from Echo Chord Color. And that's just some good kind of a mid-paced, slow techno single. One from just plain Echo Chord, it's on black vinyl. This is Rod Modell with Sacred Geometry. And this guy is also, I showed Soltech just a little bit ago. Rod Modell is the other half of Echospace. So another one that I'm really happy to have here. Everything related to Echospace that I've heard is excellent. So I'm going to keep on finding as much as I can until I have them all. And that's Echospace number 9 there. This one is Azealia Banks from 2012. This is her debut EP, I believe. She had a big song here. 212, I think, was a big song. She has a really unique style. She kind of raps over what is basically dance music, like early 90s house music. And she has a fantastic flow. This is easily one of the most unique and exciting releases I've heard in hip-hop in a long time. So that's Azealia Banks, 1991. This is an album that came out last year from John Fox and the Maths. The Maths is another name, I forget his actual name, but he's a electronic producer. And the duo of them together, John Fox and the Maths, they made a great album together. So it wasn't available on vinyl last year. Finally was able to pick it up this year when it did come out on vinyl. And a classic 90s album from Weezer. I'm not a huge Weezer fan, but I can't deny that this album is a great 90s indie rock album. So it was reissued by Mobile Fidelity. A great pressing there, and it's a gatefolds. So happy to have that. A really nice pressing of that. I think that came out in maybe 1994, I want to say. It was their debut album, and I think they pretty much just went downhill from there. I mean, they had a couple more good albums afterwards, but this one's a great one. And And Animal Collective's first album here. Spirit They've Vanished. No, Spirit They're Gone, Spirit They've Vanished. It's actually just Autechre and Panda Bear, so it's not the full Animal Collective, but it's another great album from them. A reissue, pressed on vinyl for the first time in the US just a couple months ago. So happy to finally be able to get that. There's been a ton of great reissues coming out lately, and some more in December that I'm excited to get, especially in the UK. So, I mean, I generally don't buy much used vinyl because I can find so much great music, great older music that's being reissued, and I like new vinyl better than the crackly old used vinyl, of course. But big crit here. This is a hip-hop album from last year, I believe. Return of Forever, just issued on vinyl this year, and that's probably my favorite hip-hop album of last year, or 2 years ago, whenever it came out. It's kind of he has a southern style, like UGK. If you know UGK, it's somewhat similar in style. This one is Josephine Foster. Becoming Gladness, it's called. Was released in 2008, maybe, I want to say. That's a really nice modern folk album from Josephine Foster. Here we have a reissue of Love's Forever Changes. A fantastic 60s psychedelic album. And this was actually issued on Record Store Day, the Black Friday version of Record Store Day. It came with a free 7-inch too, so that's nice. It is being issued officially in a general release this month, so. Just a couple more here. This is Bob Dylan's Desire, which is probably my favorite album after he had his motorcycle accident. From the mid-70s, I believe, just after Blood on the Tracks. And I actually like this one a little more than Blood on the Tracks. But this one's pretty easy to find, so at a good price, so how to get that. The last one here, this is the Avalanches, Since I Left You. It's a UK reissue on dark blue vinyl, and that's another just great album from 2001, I believe. It's a kind of a mashup album, you know, like the kind of thing that Girl Talk does, but much more tasteful. It's a great, almost psychedelic electronic album. It's really something unique, something to hear. So that's Avalanches again, Since I Left You. And that's all. So until next time, enjoy the music.